The boardroom door swung open with a quiet whoosh. And there she stood, Emily Carter, 29 years old, in a tailored Armani suit that screamed Wall Street power. The room fell silent, the kind of silence that hangs heavy, pregnant with unspoken truths about to burst. Her father, Jack, sat at the head of the table, his weathered face creased in confusion. Her siblings, oldest brother Ryan, 42, with his perpetual air of authority, sister Laura, 39, the sharp-tongued sales whiz, and brother Sean, 37, the logistics guru, all turned, their expressions shifting from annoyance to outright bewilderment. "Emily, what are you doing here?" Jack asked, his voice laced with that familiar paternal dismissal, as if she'd wandered into the wrong room at a family barbecue. She didn't flinch. Instead, she strode in, heels clicking against the polished oak floor like the ticking of a bomb. Her attorney, Mark Ellis, already seated, gave her a subtle nod. Emily pulled out a chair, not at the end, where she'd always been relegated during rare family visits, but right in the middle, across from her father. "I'm here for the board meeting," she said calmly, her voice steady, but inside, her heart pounded with years of pent-up rage and quiet triumph. The air thickened. You could feel the shift, like the moment before a storm breaks. Ryan leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "This is about the Arizona expansion."
Eminência.
"Serious business stuff. Maybe you should wait outside." He said it kindly, but the undertone was clear. "You're not one of us." Not really. Emily had heard variations of that her whole life. The baby of the family, the surprise arrival when her mom was 42, the one who didn't fit the Carter blueprint. While her siblings dove headfirst into Carter Industries, a mid-sized manufacturer of automotive parts that their parents had bootstrapped from a garage in Detroit back in 1987, she'd always been the outlier. The dreamer, the bookworm, the one more interested in spreadsheets and market trends than assembly lines and supplier negotiations. But today wasn't about reminiscing. "The Arizona project," Emily said, opening her leather briefcase and sliding out a stack of documents. "A $25 million venture you've greenlit without board approval. That violates Section 8.2 of the investment agreement." Her words landed like grenades. Laura's eyes widened. "How do you even know about that?" Sean chimed in, his voice cracking just a bit. "You've never been involved in the details." Emily met their gazes one by one. Her own eyes, a piercing green inherited from her mother, unwavering. "I've been more involved than you think." Jack cleared his throat, trying to regain control. "Honey, let's not get ahead of ourselves." "Mark, can we proceed?" "Emily, we appreciate you stopping by." "But," Mark interrupted smoothly, "Ms. Carter is here as the principal representative of Summit Ventures." The name hung in the air. The same faceless entity that had swooped in 3 years ago during the depths of the pandemic, injecting $35 million to save Carter Industries from collapse. The family had celebrated it as a miracle, toasting Jack's savvy negotiations over Zoom calls. But now, the pieces were falling into place, and the horror dawning on their faces was almost palpable.
"You're..."
"What?" Ryan stammered. Emily pushed another document across the table, a corporate org chart for Summit Ventures. At the top, Emily Carter, CEO and sole owner. "I've owned 51% of this company since 2020, she said, her voice dropping to that whisper-quiet tone that commanded attention. "You asked for a lifeline. I provided it, through channels you never bothered to question." The room erupted in a cacophony of denial and shock. Laura grabbed the paper, her manicured nails digging in. "This can't be real." "You? With what money?" Sean's face paled.
"Inc."
"If this is some joke." But Jack just stared, his hands trembling as he read his daughter's name in black and white. Flash back to how it all began. Because every explosion has its slow burn. Jack and Susan Carter had poured their souls into the company. Starting with a tiny workshop, they grew it to 20 employees and $3 million in revenue by the time Emily was born. Her siblings were groomed from diapers, Ryan learning the ropes on the factory floor, Laura charming clients at trade shows, Sean optimizing delivery routes. Emily? She was the afterthought. The quiet kid who'd rather read finance books than tinker with machinery. At 14, she'd tried to join in, asking her dad to explain the production process. He'd ruffled her hair. Focus on school.
Kiddo.
Your brothers and sister have this covered. At 16, after devouring books on lean manufacturing, she suggested automating inventory. Jack had chuckled. We've got our system down pat after all these years. By college, Emily had given up. She attended Stanford on scholarships and loans, her family citing business needs for not helping, unlike her siblings' fully funded rides. You're the smart one, Susan had said. This'll build character. Emily graduated with $92,000 in debt and a gig at Bain & Company in San Francisco. No one came to her ceremony. A big supplier deal trumped it. The business comes first, Jack had explained over the phone. She understood. She always had. At Bain, Emily shone. She dissected companies, spotting inefficiencies like a hawk spots prey. Promotions came fast, senior consultant at 23, partner at 25, the youngest in the firm's West Coast history. Her bonus structure included equity in spin-offs. She invested wisely. Tech startups, real estate flips, index funds during dips. By 27, her net worth hit $52 million. But she lived simply, a studio in the Mission District, a used Prius, thrift store finds. Her family? They never asked. Holidays were all about Carter Industries, Q4 forecasts, competitor threats. How's the consulting gig? Jack might toss out. Already turning back to Ryan's updates. Then came 2020. COVID slammed manufacturing. Supply chains froze. Orders vanished. Carter Industries lost 4 key clients. Revenue plummeted 52%. Debt piled up from a recent plant expansion. By April, bankruptcy loomed. Sean called Emily, first contact in 18 months. We're in deep.
Eminência.
Need $20 million to survive. Banks are out.
Can you
maybe loan us $15,000? It stung. That paltry ask, like she was still the kid with a lemonade stand. I'll see what I can do, she said. He emailed the financials. Desperate. Emily pored over them that weekend. The core was solid. Loyal customers. Quality products. Issues were cash flow and overleverage. She crafted a deal through Summit Ventures, her private firm named after her childhood street. $35 million for 51% equity. Board control on big decisions. Family keeps ops. Salaries. Anonymous. Layers of separation. She pitched it as contacts from work. They bit. Relieved. At a virtual family toast, Jack beamed. Emily hooked us up with these investors. We're golden. Her siblings praised his leadership. Emily, on mute, sipped her coffee in silence. For 3 years, she monitored from afar. Quarterly reports showed recovery. Profitable by late 2020. $48 million revenue by 2022. $65 million in 2023. Family credited themselves, Jack's vision. Ryan's efficiency. Laura's deals. Sean's logistics. Board meetings were remote. Mark proxied for her. Minor slips. Unauthorized hires. 20% raises. Luxury SUVs as company cars. She noted, but let slide. Until Arizona, a $25 million plant they'd negotiated secretly. Deposit down. Groundbreaking imminent. Financials? Sloppy. Over-optimistic. Ignored new competitors. Inflated ROI. Mark called. They're bulldozing ahead without approval. Emily's decision crystallized. In-person meeting. I'll attend. Don't warn them.
Now.
Here she was. Revelation hanging like smoke. You lied, Jack accused. Voice rising. I omitted, Emily corrected. You never asked about my life. Assumed I was scraping by. That was your narrative. Not mine. The tension built. Emotions simmering. Laura's eyes welled. How could you afford this? Emily leaned back. My gig paid off. Last year, $9.2 million. This year, tracking $12 million.
Gasps.
Sean whispered. That's more than us combined. Jack's face crumpled. We would have been proud. Emily's laugh was bitter. Would you? Or resentful that the different kid outpaced you all? The boardroom felt smaller now. The air thick with betrayal and dawning respect. Emily's mother, Susan, had slipped in unnoticed during the chaos, her face a mask of shock as she leaned against the doorframe. Emily, she whispered, why didn't you tell us? It was the question that cut deepest, because it echoed the years of invisibility. Emily turned to her, voice softening just a fraction. Why would I? You never showed interest. Holidays were business monologues. My promotions? My deals? Crickets. Susan's eyes filled with tears. But Emily pressed on. This wasn't the time for softening. The damning emotions had been building too long. Let's rewind a bit to understand the slow erosion that led here. Growing up in suburban Detroit, the Carter home revolved around the factory. Dinners were strategy sessions, Ryan boasting about production tweaks, Laura sharing sales wins, Sean mapping routes on napkins. Emily, at the kids' table even into her teens, listened quietly. She absorbed it all, the thrill of growth, the sting of setbacks. But when she piped up with ideas, like digitizing records at 15, Jack would smile indulgently. Stick to your studies.
Eminência.
We've got this. It wasn't malice. It was blindness. They saw her as fragile, introspective, not cut from their entrepreneurial cloth. College was her escape. Stanford's campus buzzed with ambition. And Emily thrived. She majored in economics, minored in computer science, interned at venture firms. Debt mounted. But she hustled, tutoring, freelance analysis. Graduation day, empty seats from her family. Client crisis, Susan apologized. Emily nodded, swallowed the hurt, and moved to San Francisco. Bain was cutthroat, but she excelled, restructuring flailing firms, spotting billion-dollar opportunities. Partners noticed, equity flowed. She founded Summit Ventures quietly, a vehicle for her growing portfolio. Real estate in booming Austin, stakes in AI startups, savvy stock plays during market crashes. Family visits?
Rare.
When she did show, conversations skimmed her surface. Still jet-setting? Laura might ask, implying instability. It's nice having a steady paycheck, Ryan added once, his tone pitying. Not everyone thrives in ownership. Emily smiled through it, her bank account swelling to $52 million by 28. She could have flaunted it, a mansion, a Tesla, but why? Proving herself to them felt pointless. Until the pandemic forced her hand. Back in the boardroom, Ryan tried to rally. Okay.
Fine.
You're the investor. But Arizona's solid. We've vetted it. Emily shook her head, pulling out her analysis, a 45-page deck she'd whipped up in 72 hours. Your projections use pre-COVID data. Competitors have flooded the Southwest market. Labor costs? Underestimated by 25%. Permits? Average 8 months in Arizona. Not your 120 days. She walked them through it, slide by slide, her expertise shining like a spotlight. Sean, ever the pragmatist, nodded slowly.
Damn. Eminência. This.
This makes sense. Laura flipped pages. It's more scaled back, but the ROI holds. Jack pushed back. We've run this for 36 years. We know our industry. Emily's eyes flashed. And I've turned around 52 companies in yours. 38 wins. 14 losses. This, as is, a loss. The vote came swift. Emily and Mark's proxies carried the 51%. Revised plan approved, $16 million budget. Phased build. Better site. You're taking over, Laura accused. Voice trembling. No, Emily said. Enforcing what you signed. You've had free rein raises, cars,
Trips.
I watched. Let it go because profits rolled. But this? Reckless. Susan's voice broke the tension. But we're family. Emily paused, the word twisting like a knife. Am I? The one you funded last for school? Whose career was cute? The afterthought. Silence. Ryan rubbed his temples. We screwed up. Big time. Emily stood. Monthly meetings now. Approvals for anything over $60,000. Performance-tied pay. Standard stuff for investors. As she gathered her things, Jack pleaded. Can we talk? Not like this. She looked at him. You've got 3 kids here who fit your mold. Ask them how it feels to be dismissed. With that, she left, the door clicking shut like a final punctuation. The drive back to San Francisco was a blur of highways and hindsight. Calls flooded her phone, voicemails piling up. Jax, confused at first, what the hell?
Ain't.
Then angry, this is betrayal. Finally broken, please. Talk to us. Laura's defensive. This is revenge. Isn't it? We messed up. But damn. Ryan's logical. Let's negotiate equity back. Sean's raw. I'm sorry. We undervalued you. Don't let this end us. Emily listened in her quiet apartment, tears stinging, but didn't reply. The hurt ran deep. A lifetime of being sidelined. Thursday rolled around. First monthly meeting. They were early. Faces haggard. Emily took the head seat, her seat now. Operations update. Ryan. For hours. She grilled them, exposing blind spots, inefficient suppliers, bloated overhead. By end, they'd adopted her org tweaks. Approval flows. One more, she said. Outside work. We're family. But real family where my life matters too. Jack nodded. We're sorry. For everything. Susan teared up. Both wrong and hurtful. Emily scanned them. Prove it. Weeks blurred into months. The new normal settling like dust after quake. At Carter Industries, the changes took hold. Monthly meetings became crucibles of accountability. Emily's questions sharp. Her insights laser-focused. Ryan's ops reports? She spotted a 15% waste in raw materials he'd missed. Laura's sales pitches? Emily suggested data-driven tweaks that landed 2 major contracts. Sean grumbled at first about revised logistics, but admitted her software recs cut costs by 12%. Jack, humbled, deferred more. What do you think?
Ain't.
It wasn't domination, it was guidance. The kind she'd craved as a kid. Outside the office, family dinners shifted too. The first one post-revelation was tense, held at her parents' sprawling home in Bloomfield Hills. Susan cooked Emily's favorite, lasagna, but the air hummed with unspoken apologies. They asked about her work.
Genuinely.
Tell us about Bain, Laura prodded. Emily hesitated, then dove in, the high-stakes restructurings, the boardroom battles, the thrill of turning losers into winners. Ryan took notes on her investment tips. Portfolio diversification? Walk me through it. Sean marveled at her San Francisco life. You live modestly with all that? She shrugged. Flash isn't fulfillment, but wounds don't heal overnight. Flashbacks haunted her, age 8, overhearing Jack tell Susan. Emily's different, maybe not business material. Age 19. Working 2 jobs to cover tuition gaps while her siblings partied on company dime. The graduation snub. The casual dismissals. Therapy helped, weekly sessions unpacking the resentment. You saved them out of love, her therapist said. But love doesn't erase pain. Emily nodded, processing the duality. Pride in her empire. Ache from their blindness. Arizona launched revised, on time. Under budget. Profits trickled in by month 5. Revenue climbed to $72 million. Exec pay rose. But now merit-based, no more unchecked perks. Jennifer Hale joined as COO, a manufacturing pro Emily vetted. She's neutral, Emily told Jack. No family bias. Jennifer streamlined everything, earning respect. The family adapted, grumbling fading to acceptance. A year in, Laura called late one night. I need to say this properly. Emily listened as Laura unpacked the superiority complex, the snide comments about employee life. We thought our path was superior. But you built an empire solo. I'm sorry for making you feel small. It hit hard. Tears flowed. Thanks, Emily whispered. That helps. Ryan followed suit at a dinner. I dismissed your ideas as a kid. Big mistake. Sean, we took you for granted. Jax came during a walk. I failed as a dad. Focused on the business. Not you. Susan, we saw you as fragile. But you're the strongest. Forgiveness crept in slowly. Like dawn. Emily shared more, her net worth now $168 million. And you drive a Prius? Laura laughed. Efficiency over ego. Holidays evolved, no business talk and less inclusive. They attended her Bain Award ceremony, cheering loudest. But Emily kept boundaries. Summit Ventures her domain. Carter Industries her investment. 2 years post-revelation. Jack floated CEO to her. You're the brains here. She declined. I love strategy. Not ops. Hire external. They did, Tom Rivera. A veteran who pushed revenue to $88 million. Emily chaired the board. Adding value without micromanaging. Family dynamics? Healthier. Debates respectful. Achievements celebrated equally. As time wore on, the story's undercurrents surfaced in quiet moments. Emily reflected during solo hikes in the Marin Headlands, the Pacific wind whipping her hair. Had she been vindictive? Maybe a touch, letting them squirm in that boardroom. But mostly, it was justice, a recalibration of power. She'd saved them not for glory, but because blood ties, however frayed, mattered. The pandemic call from Sean? It could have been ignored. Instead, she acted, anonymous, watching them thrive under her unseen hand. Challenges arose. A supplier dispute tested the new structure. Ryan wanted to sue. Emily pushed negotiation, saving $2 million. Laura's ego flared during a sales slump. Emily coached her through data analysis, turning it around. Sean adapted fastest, crediting Emily's logistics overhauls. Jack, retiring slowly, confided, "You taught me humility." Susan baked apology pies, literal ones, whispering regrets over coffee. Socially, Emily bloomed. Friends knew her story. Offering support. Girl, you're a boss. Dating? Sparse. But a finance peer. Alex entered the picture, understanding her drive without intimidation. Family met him at Thanksgiving, no judgments. Revenue hit $95 million. Projections soared. Emily diversified Summit, acquiring 2 more firms. 3 years out. At a family reunion, 40 relatives in a rented Michigan lake house, Jack toasted. To Emily, who we overlooked too long, who built quietly, saved us boldly, and leads wisely. Glasses clinked, eyes met hers with genuine pride. She smiled. The girl who'd once eavesdropped on business talks now at the center. Yet, the ending isn't tidy. Echoes linger. Was it revenge or redemption? Emily ponders this at her desk. Summit's skyline view sprawling. She didn't destroy, she elevated. Carter Industries? $102 million now. A testament to collaboration. Family bonds? Stronger. Forged in fire. But the lesson burns. Underestimations cost. Jack visits San Francisco quarterly. Just father-daughter. I'm proud, he says. Always was. Just blind. Emily hugs him. I know. Siblings text investment advice. She advises back. Susan sends care packages, including childhood photos, reminders of the overlooked girl who became unbreakable. In the end, power isn't domination, it's visibility. Emily walks boardrooms unapologetic. Her story a whisper to the underestimated. Build in silence. Reveal in strength. What if they'd seen her earlier? No matter, the now suffices. Justice isn't loud. It's the quiet acknowledgement that the dismissed hold the reins. And sometimes, that's enough to heal.